Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure unboxing video. And boy, am I excited for today's video, not just because of the figure in front of me, but because we finally get to start cracking into the Saiyan Saga Kuji. I forget the actual technical name of it. Editor Theo will put it on screen. But today we are starting off with the big man in the set himself, the Masterly's Ichibansho, technically Ichibansho because this is the overseas version, Nappa. Now obviously we have never gotten a Nappa figure in recent time, so it is really cool to be able to get a figure of him in Ichibansho scale. There we go, they have his big boy name on the big boy side. Let's go there, my boy Nappa. Obviously lots of Japanese text all around. It is pretty funny. A lot of the time in a lot of these figure boxes, they keep the Japanese text for the overseas version, but they get rid of it for the Japanese version, which like doesn't make any sense, because you would think, you know, that for the Japanese people they would want to read the Japanese. But I don't know, I guess it's because then here in the West we're like, oh wow, it's authentic because, you know, it has the Japanese text on it. I don't know. Of course, if you are familiar with this set, you would know, and I'm sure I just showed a picture of it as well. Vegeta is also going to be coming up in here, so we'll be bringing this boy Nappa back out, I'm sure, to show him with the Vegeta. Here's the top of the box. Now this particular copy of this figure I did actually get from Amazon. Unfortunately the box came this way, which kind of stinks. I'm sure the figure is fine on the inside, the Toei Animation sticker by the way, but it is kind of unfortunate. Amazon is sort of notorious for shipping their boxes like this where they're not very well packed. The only other thing that I have for you to note here is that obviously this comes with, I believe it's not a separate head, but the ear actually detaches, and then you can put a scouter ear on the actual figure. So let's go ahead and crack into it. This set has actually been super sought after lately, like really sought after, as in it's been selling out everywhere. I actually pre-ordered it 2 places just to make sure that I could get it. I pre-ordered it on Amazon, and I also pre-ordered it on Big Bad Toy Store. Funny enough, Amazon canceled all of my figures except for Nappa, and Big Boy Toy Store, Big Bad Toy Store rather, canceled all of my figures. Canceled Nappa only, and then kept all of the other figures. So I guess that kind of worked out nicely in my favor, sort of. Okay, this is a very weird entrance to the box here. Let me turn off the light so you can see this already. I guess we'll just take the plastic top off. Okay, so it is nice to see that he has been stored pretty good. This looks to be the stand and the, oh my gosh, that's just taped haphazardly in there. Okay, his hand, interesting. Maybe they couldn't, it looks like it could have fit with it on there, right? That definitely looks like that could have fit with that on there. I don't know. Well, we have the various pieces. Let's go ahead and pull Nappa out. Wow, I knew this guy was going to be big, but this is giant. By the way, there's a little foot base in there. Obviously, that's how he was standing. That is, I'm sure, a lot cheaper to do than like a clamshell, but I think sometimes you need the clamshell. Okay, so does he stand on his own? Yes, he does stand on his own. Look at how tall this man is. Oh my gosh, bro. This is one big boy of a figure, if I do say so myself. We are going to zoom in a little bit here. All right, so let's go ahead and get the plastic off. I guess we'll just rip it from the bottom. Yeah, I don't really have like a specific way that I'm trying to do this. Do you want to use his boot? Let me just pull him off camera. So obviously with this whole set we're going to be able to make all of these different scenes from the Saiyan Saga, which will be awesome. And the cool thing about this is a lot of characters, I mean, I guess technically a lot only being 3, but I suppose that's a lot all things considered, are finally getting figures from the Saiyan Saga. Of course, that being Nappa as the big one, because of course he hasn't had any figures. Saiyan Saga Vegeta is also going to get a figure, and Cybermen, believe it or not. Oh, okay, so there is already one really unfortunate thing that I see with my copy of the figure. Overall, though, just upon the preliminary, excuse me, I'm getting tripped up because I'm so excited about this. Upon the preliminary viewing, excuse me, This figure looks fantastic. Look at the detail on the armor. Look at the perfect sculpt of his muscles. This is one of those figures that you look at and you see like this is the character, right? Like this isn't a figure of Nappa. This is Nappa, right? The only unfortunate thing I see, okay, so his head does not come off, is that on my copy, his bald noggin actually has 2 scuff marks on the top of his head, which is very unfortunate. You would think that would be the one part of the figure that they would try and keep clean if they could. Will that, like, spit shine? Will that work? No, I figured as much. I'll have to see if maybe I could, like, paint that or something. Let me rub off his bald head so my spit isn't on the top of that. Alright, so we have him right here. Overall, though, he looks fantastic. We'll take a look at the details in a second. I want to put him together. So, obviously, we have the various pieces here. I guess we'll start with the stand. It kind of looks like that he doesn't really need it, but just in case I decide to be a dingus and like punch it by accident or something, we'll have that. So here is the stand. This is a very beefy stand. Very cool that it's also clear, because obviously a lot of the time they don't do clear stands. Does this go on the back or the front? I would assume the back one? Yes. Okay, so his back leg. Good. That's... Wow. He is really sturdy. That's not going anywhere. Okay, sick. That is one of the best Kuji stands I think I've ever seen. Yo, wait, how do I get that angle back? I had a perfect angle for Angel Nappa. I don't know if you caught that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the fist out now. It is very interesting that he's packaged with that. You know what I think this actually is? The reason why the fist is a detachable part is because the last one version of this figure is actually a hairless Nappa, and I believe his hand pose is different than this one. So I suppose that's if you also get the LO version, right? What does this say in there? BL, okay. I assume that's also if you get that version, then you could exchange the handout. But with the one that we have here, that just slides on nicely. And wow, that's great. With how the armor is, you literally cannot tell that that was a separate piece. That's really nice. That literally looks like the same. That would be a funny prank, though. Like, you're like, oh, you broke it to somebody, and you're like, ah, I'm just goofing you, bro. Alright, so obviously very, very nice work there. And perfectly, actually, kind of looking at this, it almost looks like he's complete, but he is still missing the ear, so let's go ahead and pop that out. It is very weird that we just have a spare ear in the bag here. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to open this without, like, using the ears like pointy part to push it through the bag, because I think that, yeah, that's definitely gonna need me to do that. There's no way I would have been able to pull that open. Okay, get that ear out of there. This is one of the weirdest things that I've ever unboxed, an ear for a Dragon Ball character. Okay, so nice. Just comes out of the bag like that. Very nicely sculpted. It's literally identical to the other one. You see there's just a big hole. Actually, hold on. That's being blocked. There we go. You can see that there's just a big hole in the side of his cranium. If we literally just pop that bad boy in there, how does that fit? Like that? That feels like... It's just... I think it's just because it's such a small connection. It feels weird. And yeah, there you go. Honestly, like... You can tell a little bit, I guess, that it's not a part of the figure. Like, it does kind of just flow in, mesh in. What's the proper word to use here, right? Like, it sort of just, oh my gosh, disappears into the sculpt. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. Which is awesome, because that's what you would hope for with this type of thing. With it obviously being a detachable piece. But, of course, if you are trying to get, I think, technically, from where this scene is, they should have their scouters on at that point, right? Because I don't think Nappa takes it off for a while. This is really hard to get out of the bag, by the way. I might actually have to cut this open. Oh, nope, there we go. Okay. After a little bit of pressure, it just kind of slipped off. So let's go ahead and repeat the process with his ear. If we take a look back at his bald cranium, we just pull that off, and there isn't like an ear in here or anything, because obviously the scouter's upside down. Actually, that was an accidental TFS bit, but right, with the scouter, of course, in the anime and in the manga, it just covers their ears, so you literally just put it on there, and then it looks like he's wearing the scouter, which is sick. That's a really, really great look. Just make sure that you don't lose the ear because obviously that is a very small place and there's not really like a place to put it in the box or anything like that. That looks fantastic though. The clear material that they used for this looks perfect. You can see right through it and it looks exactly like it would, you know, on the actual character in the anime, which is fantastic. So let's take a look at the sculpt real quick. The only thing that I can complain about besides the top of his head having those scuff marks is that mine does have a little bit of weird paint app with the white here, and obviously you can see like there's a little bit of bleed. That is kind of funky. Also, like the edges between the yellow and white here do look a little bit goofy, if I'm being honest with you here. But other than that, right, like the tail, there we go, thank you for focusing, very nicely sculpted. Obviously his weird underpants or whatever Nappa wears, because obviously he loses the armor at one point, look great. The actual like texturing and the not the weathering effects, the like subtle shadows, I guess. There's a specific word that's escaping my mind for what this is called. Almost like a little bit of a dry brushing effect, but this is like actually painted on the figure where it gets darker around the edges, which is super neat, because obviously, you know, this is an Ichiban Kuji figure, and it shows with this type of thing, that, you know, this is a really good looking figure. Obviously his arms are fantastically sculpted, the muscle detail. There's even a little bit of popping vein action going on there, which looks great. His legs look super bulky, just like he should. The boots also look fantastic. Those look like some good old Nappa boots to me. And again, the face sculpt is literally perfect. Let me pan up just a little bit so you can see it better. There you go. The only thing that is a little bit weird, and I think it is just because of the pose, is that like his head does look very like cocked to the side from certain angles. Like it does look very weird like that. But then like when you're looking at it like this, right? Like it looks normal this way. But then if you look at it like this, it's like, ooh, that is a little bit weird looking. But I think that that's just the pose from the manga. You know, I don't really think that's the figure's fault. And I will say these are very square for these muscles. Again, the name of that muscle is escaping me. But obviously just like the top of the chest, it sort of shows through there. They're very squared off. But overall, this figure looks absolutely fantastic. Oh, there we go. There's Angel Nappa. Like, again, not only was I so excited for this Ichiban Kuji set because, of course, we're getting some Saiyan Saga stuff, but how good it actually looks. This is one of those ones that this is a figure that you are proud to own. Like, this is one of those figures that you show to people who aren't collectors and be like, yo, look how sick this looks. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Obviously, starting off with our usual comparison, you can tell that this is a large lad, especially compared to the WCF Super Saiyan Blue Goku. This guy is basically up to the size of my man's kneecap, just a little bit higher. This is one big boy. Even for an Ichiban Kuji figure, this is a pretty tall figure. Now, I will be giving you two comparisons for this figure. Unfortunately, I don't really have much crazy in terms of size comparisons. Just for the sake of a Kuji figure size comparison, though, not going to give you any images for this one, but just to kind of show you the size for Nappa, since we just did this guy a little bit ago, there's the Super Saiyan God Trunks from Dragon Ball Heroes. He was just handy because of recording shenanigans in the background, just to kind of give you a size comparison. However, with some figures that would fit maybe kind of good with Goku, I just kind of spoiled who I'm putting on the table next. We have the Kamehameha special move Goku. Now, there aren't actually a lot of Saiyan Saga figures, right? Which is also part of the reason why this set was so exciting. I would definitely not mind if they did another set of this with a big buff shirtless Nappa, right? And Vegeta with the broken armor when he was about to do the Gallic Gun or something like that. But obviously this is just a basic Goku Kamehameha figure. I don't know if this technically comes from any specific arc. I think it might be the Saiyan Saga, but obviously it's based off of a piece of art. But overall, these guys do look pretty cool together. Obviously, Goku doesn't do a Kamehameha against Nappa. He just fought him. But these guys do look kind of stylistically sort of the same, at least a little bit closer than some of the other figures that I would have for you. And then, you know, with Nappa, I couldn't not bring out a Vegeta. Let me dust that boy off a little bit. Sorry about that. So, the only Saiyan Saga slash... technically, this wouldn't be Frieza Saga because he wouldn't have his tail anymore. Vegeta that I have is actually the WCF Bam Presto World Figure Coliseum. Sorry, I always get WCF and WFC confused. But yes, we have these two bad boys standing next to each other. Obviously, Nappa is a lot bigger than this figure, but this is still a pretty cool setup. Obviously, both of these guys coming from the Saiyan Saga. Again, I will whip out Nappa absolutely, probably for every single one of the figures that's going to be in this Ichiban Kuji, but especially for when we get the Vegeta in this set, because obviously the figures are literally meant to go together. But that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is an incredible Nappa. I highly recommend you pick this guy up. Since this is an overseas Ichiban Kuji, you can actually go ahead and click on the link in the description. If you do pick him up from the Amazon link in the description, I do get a little bit of an extra cut with no extra cost to you, which is fantastic. And if you would like to support more figure reviews like this one, you can hit me up on the old Patreon, or if you just want to show your support for the general Dokkan Access shenanigans. Obviously not required though. You watching these videos is well appreciated. Trust me on that one. Otherwise, though, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you plan on picking up this set, if you can find it. I know that it is quite hard to find right now. Certain sites have been getting it in and out in terms of stock, so let me know if you can pick up this set. I'm sure that in the future going forward, it'll be a little bit easier to find, hopefully. But I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. I will catch you all in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.